Or maybe it was working after 6.
Maybe.
Just wondering.
Nope.
Because the setting, no, actually, no.
So Aziz, if I don't have the answers for the questions, I'm going to throw over to you to help me answer. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. We're going to have a chit chat. I'm going to mute everyone now that we are entering. So, Justin, I will mute yourself as well. And then in a couple of minutes, I will give the possibility to activate your own message. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining this conversation. I just wanted to give a couple of minutes more, maybe for someone else that wants to join the conversations that we're going to have. For a question of audio and recording, we deactivated the audio to everyone. We're gonna now activate the audio to Justin so that he can, of course, answer to all of the questions that we have for him. And at the end of the conversation, I will leave between 15 minutes, allowing the time 15 to 20 minutes to allow free questions. So maybe I would say, instead of deactivating our audio that usually cause delayed and maybe long answers and we don't give space to everyone, if we can share the question in the chat box so that we can collect all the questions. Those questions that will not be answered during the call will also be answered during an exchange of emails with Justin. I will make myself available to share it with him so everyone can have their own feedback on their concerns or anything related about the today discussions and more. So, Justin, I'm allowing you now to use your audio. Perfect.
Cool.
Shall we wait a few moments or shall we start? I think that we should probably start because I don't want to take too much time from the conversation.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, Justin. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity. A lot of people were extremely excited to have you with us today. And we designed these conversations as a free-flowing conversation. So we built some questions for you because, of course, we wanted to create and keep a structure that could eventually lead to more conspicuous interactions between us. But of course, you are more than welcome to express anything that comes to your minds. You are our guest today, and people are eager to learn from you. So we welcome Justin from NAQEL Express, the Chief Freight Forwarding Officer at NAQEL in Saudi. Justin, if you want to introduce yourself and tell something about yourself to the audience, that would be great.
Cool. Hey everyone, I'm Justin, obviously. So I've been in the region for the last 3 to 4 years, and my current job is looking after the freight forwarding division here at NAQEL Express. Really looking forward to sharing some of my thoughts and connecting. There is a provision though. I am a New Zealander. I speak fast, so hopefully if this is being recorded, you can slow it down. Depending on the answer that you want to hear. So I'll try to keep it slow, but just to warn you guys, I'm a New Zealander and I speak fast. So
amazing. I mean, we are just excited to hear from you and learn more from you. So let's start straight with the first question. I mean, it's pretty clear that the current situation is a very delicate situation, and I'm sure that you, being a person that not only covers the behind the computer role, but also in person role between the life of the market and the life of the supply chain. It's quite of an adventure considering the current time, and we wanted to understand from your side, how would you describe the current global landscape, and what key changes have stood out in the recent time? Is there anything that you would like to highlight from what was before and what is happening now, and how you are personally also handling these challenges?
cool. So you've started off with an easy question, I see. So thanks for that. I think if I could describe the current like supply chain landscape, obviously the easy answer would be that it's volatile. But I'd go for a different answer. I think it's around managing value. So you know, supply chains are so important these days. To everyone and everybody. So I think the current landscape is defined by how you manage value. So when the conflict hit, when the disruption started, the key thing for us was, how do we fulfill value for our customers? So they've got value on the water, value in airplanes. So the focus was, you know, very much on fulfilling that, putting our business continuity plans in place, all of those good things. But there's so many different characteristics of value, right? So how do we retain value for our customers? So we had to get into that headspace in terms of they've got continuing business. How can we retain that business for the customers as well? Obviously, lots of supply chains had closed off, so new solutions came around. So it's around that, but also, how do you create value for your customers through some of those new solutions? So and then enhance value as well. So I think if I could describe the current supply chain landscape, it is around managing value for everyone involved, because it is so important. I think in terms of major shifts, probably the first one was kind of just around resiliency. You know, you lived it, Jessica. You know, there were a lot of fireworks happening. It was a very tense time. You know how to deal with pressure, but it was a different sort of pressure that was coming. So I think the resiliency of the people in logistics in the different countries impacted was, you know, something that's kind of shifted. You know, we know that people in the logistics are really good at handling pressure, but the way that they handled those dual pressures to work for their customers, work for their business, but also look after themselves was really huge. I think The second kind of shift, and I might be a bit biased because I am from Saudi, or I work and live in Saudi, is the role that the kingdom has been playing during this conflict. You know, we all know here in Saudi that it's part of the Vision 2030 that Saudi is going to be a logistics hub, you know, a global logistics hub. I think with this conflict and the measures taken by the government and the businesses here really showed that we can actually do that in a really efficient and effective way. So I think the shift that I'm seeing is maybe we'll hit the Vision 2030 targets a little bit earlier, because this whole change in the region is accelerating some of that. It's accelerating that. I think the other shift, and we kind of saw it with COVID, and definitely here in the region, and even my family in New Zealand or Australia or Germany, supply chains used to be in the backstage. So when I was coming through, you knew you did a good job if no one complained, right? You didn't get told you had done a good job. Now supply chains are center stage. Everyone's talking about it. It's so important. So you kind of see that shift even more of how important supply chain management is, freight forwarding, all of those good things. So I can't remember the other parts of the question, but
No, absolutely. You're answering completely to the questions on several layers, and I mean that what comes to my mind is like there are different types of realities, right? Like we work with micro and small freight forwarders, we work with medium, large freight forwarders. So I would say that your structure, it's more complex. And so my question in this specific case is like, when you have to take like quick decision, considering how hierarchical is the structure of the company, how effective is working in a team, how effective is for you to take the leads and take the decision and, you know, safeguard the relationship with the customer and the success of the transaction that could be, of course, the transportation solutions for your customer or the successful of the delivery itself. If there is anything that happened lately, maybe that you'd like to highlight, I think that could be a good case. Otherwise, just like what's your style in that case, how you handle this kind of situation?
Yeah, I guess in this particular situation, there's a couple of things that come to mind. So you mentioned hierarchy. The good thing about NAQEL is, while there's obviously different layers to the business, there is a lot of freedom, a lot of empowerment, a lot of autonomy to make decisions. But before we kind of go into that autonomy and freedom, it's very much about alignment. So part of our business continuity planning is we have a kind of plan on a page, right? So we understand what the situation is, what it means to our business, what it means to our customers, and then we're very clear on what the objective is for managing whatever's kind of happening at that stage. So if we can kind of set the scene as leaders, and give them the kind of general direction, but also let them know that we will back them on those decisions. So I'm not going to know the answer to everything. I'd like to see someone that does know the answer to everything and try to pick their brain. But what I do know is that my team are very experienced. I know that I've got experience in certain areas. I know the other chiefs and NAQEL have experience. I know Dr. Sahel, who's our CEO, and Dr. Adnan, who's our Deputy CEO, have got lots of experience as well. So, and you know this about me, I like to surround myself by strong voices, right? So having all of those voices that you can talk with and you can trust helps you make better decisions, because you're never going to have the perfect information, right? There's always going to be ambiguity, but I would much rather accept the truth earlier. So if I understand what this is, and actually go for it instead of trying to wait for certainty, because normally the problem will get bigger, the prices will get more, or something else will happen. So yeah, so basically it's having a good foundation, empowering your people, understand you're not going to have all of the answers, but what you can do is ask the right questions. So what protects our customer, what protects continuity, all of those things. And if it kind of hits those, if we can tick those boxes, then you know at least you've made the right call. And I'd rather make correct my motion or correct something in motion instead of going back to the customer going, yeah, we were late or we hesitated and now we've missed that opportunity. So yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I understand actually the moments that I spent with your team, I understood how cohesive it is, like a puzzle, like everyone has their own respective roles, because of course, but I would say that as you mentioned, when you choose the right people, eventually the team can grow and the business that you can deliver is just another quality of excellency, of course, but experience as well from the customer perspective. And it was really evident to me. I would say, if is there anything that you'd like to share with the other logistic providers that are part of this conversation? Is there anything that nowadays you saw as a successful strategy for NAQEL in order to retain but also grow the client base? Like, is there anything that you would recommend for companies that are eventually striving or dreaming of becoming an entity such as NAQEL, a very renowned entity?
Yeah, I guess again another good question. Another good question. I'm liking this. I think there's a couple of things. One is around collaboration. So we've worked with different freight forwarding agents to bring solutions to our customers. So what I've really liked is that people seem to be kind of connecting, right? It's a joint issue, a joint continuity plan, so to speak. So the more we connect with other forwarders and the like and other agents out there, the better it is for our kind of customer base. I think the other thing is, depending on, I talked about voices before, but one of the key things for NAQEL is we've got one of the biggest road networks in the kingdom and potentially the GCC. So, you know, I can use those guys to help me with moving sea freight and air freight around. We've also got a really big e-commerce network as well. I think we're also the biggest reach out there with gateways and those sort of things. So even if you don't have that within your business, it's looking to who are those partners that can help, you know, with the solutions or help you deliver for your customers. So yeah, it's just more of an insight into how we work, because we're stronger together, right? And we've got so much capability of moving out there. And I think if you are a smaller player, at the moment, there's probably opportunities if you're really good in a specific space to really hone in on that, develop that, and then, you know, market your wares out to other providers. So, you know, we've been going out to WCA, JC Trans, and those guys talking about what we can do for, you know, those networks. You know, there's opportunities like that. And probably finally is, you know, working with good, you know, a platform like Goods to Load. You know, getting your name out there. Obviously, we've had I think officially started maybe just before the conflict, and we got some really good leads coming out of that. So, you know, looking at those kind of lead generating opportunities, looking at the networks, collaborating. Yeah, I think there's no secret sauce. That's what we've been doing. Yeah.
Thanks for the note. I appreciated highlighting Goods to Load. For us, it's just a pleasure, you know, like what you're saying about the specific expertise of a freight forwarder in terms of the niche business that they can tackle and eventually serve. I would say is the most true things that I've ever notice. So far, I'm not as experienced as you. And some of the people that I work with, they are working in logistics since 30 years. So it's a massive experience. But I noticed that a lot of logistic providers that wants to offer like more standardized solutions, like a general solutions, usually they are kind of lost, like a piece of like a small stone in the water, because there are a lot of logistic players, and most of the time the customer clientele base choose for those that are the most well known. So some that you can recognize from the colors of the logo, someone that you can, I don't know, read the Google reviews and you read that they are just amazing, and so eventually you're going to end up there. But the reality when you are growing your business, and I speak for myself, when I had my first business before Gusalud, I was working in import-export, specifically in pharmaceutical, and there is nothing such a expert in the industry that you are actually serving in terms of delivering an excellent service and supporting the company to scale and grow globally. So definitely this is the case. And again, when I was at the NAQEL event, I understood completely what's the style you have in terms of serving your customer, your customer network, and no one was just like, other than happy. They were extremely satisfied. They were extremely safe. They were sleeping good nights. So I think that in the end, the customers wants that, and probably they are looking for a partner that can deliver. And of course, the cost is important, because overall they need to understand if they can support the service that a logistic provider is offering. But in the end, you can find ways to mitigate the cost if the service and the quality of the service is excellent, I would say. So one other question that I would like to ask you, considering your experience and the immersive knowledge that you have in logistics, is there anything that you see in supply chain in terms of evolution in the next few years? Is there anything that you saw happening or eventually can happen?
Yeah, that's another good question. I think yeah, there's a couple of things. So in terms of shifts, probably the first place I'll start is around technology. So over the past few years, you've seen a real shift to digital freight forwarders, digital twins, all of those things, and they can be really good, right? But I think with this particular disruption and this conflict, it actually just really comes back to the people side of things. So it's the people that are actually, if you have dashboards, that's great. They'll be able to tell you things, but the people are the ones that decide what to actually do, right? I think it's kind of that shift of, yes, technology is really important, but it's marrying the beauty of technology and people together. So a really good example is Mohammed Hamdan, who's my GM of freight forwarding here at NAQEL. He's that kind of guy that where credibility kind of comes from, right? So he's a don't tell me, show me kind of person. He will show you why our supply chains are great and the like, and he doesn't need to use all of the technology. He can show you physically what that means. So that's one thing. I think again, with COVID and now this conflict in this region, the importance of resiliency. I think we've just all been reminded that stuff does happen. It's going to happen all the time. So making sure that you are up with the play. Unfortunately, with NAQEL before this conflict happened. We actually did a business continuity exercise if the strait closed a couple of weeks before it happened. So we were kind of up with the play of, we kind of knew that stuff would go to Horfakan or Sohar or Salalah or down through to Jeddah, and what does that actually mean for our customers, our supply chains, and the like. So I think the more that freight forwarders and teams get into actual real continuity planning, doing actual exercises or pre-mortems and those kind of things, as customers, you will have a bit more trust and confidence that when things do go wrong, they will be able to retain the value for you. And I think the other thing is what I call the CFCs. So the cost, frequency, capacity, and service kind of matrix, and this is kind of how I manage supply chains. But I think customers are getting on board with that now, because you mentioned cost, right, a little bit before.
I'm curious about this acronym. You need to tell us more.
It's just because I'm old and CFCs were bad back in the day. Yeah, so it's a good way for me to remember it. But a lot of customers are very focused on the cost. And I can give customers a good cost if they want. But if the frequency isn't there, it could mean I give you a good cost, but the shipment doesn't move for another 6 weeks. So does that really fit, for the customer? Or I can give them a really good cost with a good frequency, but the capacity is like 40 kilos a day. Is that going to really help them out with that? So if you can't get that cost, frequency, and capacity right, then the service isn't there. And talking with customers, they kind of, a lot of customers understand that, but I think they understand that to an even greater level at the moment. So there's a cost, but what is the actual cost to the service that they're trying to provide to their customers? If you can kind of get all three right, then maybe they're prepared to pay a little bit more, because in the long run, they'll have a better service and be able to fulfill value for their customers.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's not an easy task, to mitigate in terms of expectations from the customers and trying to figure it out what's the best tailored solutions that you can deliver in order to assist the business. And their own personal expectations. Sometimes it's very hard because, as you mentioned, they say it's very urgent, I need it now. And then you tell them, yeah, we can do it. And then you show them the price. They're like, yeah, no, maybe not so now. So we can wait. It's not that
and I also liken it to a test, like a drag race, right? So there's a difference for me in terms of being quick and being fast. So a Tesla is always going to be the Hellcat in a drag race. It's just because of electric vehicle, engines and the like. But over the long distance, you're going to get there faster in a Hellcat. So that's what I kind of try to explain to our customers. I can give you something quick. It's a Tesla, great. But actually, we'll get there faster if it's a Hellcat. Sorry, I just need to throw in a car analogy.
No, and I'm sure that all of the logistic providers here that are watching us today, probably they experience the same exact things. It's always a challenge, but I do think that this is exactly the reason why eventually the customers stick with you, because they know that they can trust you, and they know that when you say something, eventually you keep your words, and probably that's the most important thing. Yes. So connecting to that, I'd like to ask you something more personal, business-wise. So you are covering a very relevant role in NAQEL, and this is something that some people, that even students eventually dreams of achieving in their life. So is there one leadership principle that consistently had guided you towards your career and the path, the growth of your career?
Can I be annoying and maybe give you 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this was something that I realized probably maybe 5-6 years ago. So, a fair bit into my career. But the first leadership principle is just being real. So being you, because it's just realizing that what you actually bring to an environment, to a business, to whatever, is actually really valuable. You don't need to be, I look up to my CEO, Dr. Sahel. I don't need to be as fast and smart and as quick as him, but if I can, take some of his great attributes then and put it in my own way, and in a real way, it means customers have more confidence with you because you're not making stuff up. You come across more authentic. So I think it's just trying to be true to yourself is definitely one leadership principle that I wish I knew a long time ago. Also, probably the other area is just around I call it best practice. So I like to observe people. I like to see what they do. Like I mentioned with my CEO, I like to see what other people do, how they handle situations, and then deciding, is that something that's worthwhile to add to your kind of toolbox of skills. So I always kind of go out there, have a look at best practice. So say from you, Jessica, you're a very engaging speaker. If I can be half of that kind of engaging speaker, then I'll be kind of happy. But I pick up attributes from you that I will take and add into my toolbox. And the last thing, just from a leadership perspective, I think I mentioned it before, just realizing you don't have to have all the answers, right? I'm never going to have all the answers, but knowing how to find the answers is key. And knowing how to ask the right questions to get to those answers is also really important. So those are probably the three biggest leadership principles that have kind of guided me as I've moved along in management roles.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I would say definitely I see in you a lot of curiosity in terms of what you don't have as per answer in your pocket. Eventually, you are a person that is humble enough to understand when and where to learn from others. And this is something that I think it's a successful strategy in order to, enrich yourself and enrich your knowledge and eventually create something impactful that can have a positive results in your work or in your life. So out of that, is there any advice that you would like to offer to the professional that maybe they are building their own career in this space, in terms of what would be a good way for them, other than, of course, being real to themselves, but to, maybe move to Saudi, establish their business, trying to grow the logistic ecosystem? Is there anything that you think it's a good way to start from the point zero up?
Yeah, so I think I'll kind of answer it in two ways. So maybe for the people that are here or in the region in terms of in logistics, and then maybe from trying to enter the market as well. So for the people that are in logistics or want to get into logistics, and this is reflective of my career path, go where the magic happens, right? So be in the operations. So my very first job when I was at university was sorting parcels at night. So I got a good understanding of, moving stuff around. And, throughout my whole career, I've made sure I've visited facilities, ride with drivers, sometimes just walking with courier drivers or truck drivers and seeing, what drives them, or excuse the pun, or what's important to them. So you kind of understand a bit more. Also kind of putting a logistics lens on your interactions with businesses. So when you're calling up customer service, is that a good way of doing customer service or not? Just kind of everything from that perspective. And I've been doing logistics for a long time. I still go out there and do stuff. So we manage the Saudi Cup logistics. So 81 of the most amazing horses come to Saudi every year from all over the world. I was out on the tarmac for every flight arrival and every flight departure. I was there observing, watching, helping. I was driving a horse float at one point because it needed to move, all of those things. But I wouldn't have the experience I have if I wasn't doing all of those things. So really important, just to kind of get where the magic happens. I think for people trying to enter this market here, especially Saudi, there's so much opportunity, right? This country amazes me with the ideas, the opportunities, the little niche markets that you can kind of get into. It is, classic go-to-market strategy. I used to be in marketing, but I'd have to brush off my skills there. But really understanding the market, what the opportunities are, the niche opportunities. But for those people wanting to come into the region, and I heard this from, I guess, one of my mentors as well. She was on an interview recently, and she was talking about you need to be resilient in this business, having the resilience to be able to take what comes at you, not only from building a business and trying to convert value, but also when customers, when things go wrong, you need to be, really resilient. So at times it can be super tough, but it can be so rewarding if you can kind of find that there. Another thing, networking.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a brilliant answer. I mean, I share everything that you just mentioned. I think that resilience and networking are probably some key factors that allows you to just like exist as per first probably in the market, and then eventually you can grow through the network. And the same exact things happen to me. I mean, most of the time I think about the chances, the opportunity that I received just because I took myself out from my comfort zone. And most of the time you see, like, we don't really consider networking as a very successful key metric to increase your own network, because we are not used to go out, talk to people, tell what we do, tell eventually if they need anything from us. And it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. Otherwise, everyone would be like extremely successful and flourish with the clients and people that can support. But being real to yourself eventually helps you to find your own tribe, I would say, your own net of people that can lift you and put you in rooms when your name should be mentioned, and when you really need your name to be mentioned.
So just feel the fear and do it anyway, right? So I'm a natural introvert. I don't really like public speaking, but all of the customer events for NAQEL, I'm the one that they're making host. I'm hosting those kind of events because I'm feeling the fear and doing it anyway. There's stuff like that. That's probably another piece of advice. If it's scary, if it puts you out of your comfort zone, then it's the right thing to do, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say with our closing notes, I just wanted to highlight some parts of your talk, and eventually discuss about it. And if there is anyone that, of course, guys, the chat is open, so please leave questions for Justin, because in a short times we are gonna take one by one and answer to all of them. So please feel free to leave any questions that you have for him. But I would say again, it's really important that specifically in logistics, but in any kind of business, taking yourself out from your comfort zone and trying to connect with the people that are specifically relevant for your business can help you to put yourself in the right track for an eventual growth of your own professional position, or eventually your business itself. And eventually, and I share this very deeply, there is no growth if you don't surround yourself with the right people. So sharing one common vision, it really helps to shapes the path of the growth of the company, or the path of the growth of the person that it's becoming part of any specific associations or company whatsoever. So again, it's not really supposed to be easy, but definitely it's one of the most exciting business so far. I know I am not really, I mean, I just love logistics, and I think it's extremely fascinating to see how we connect the entire world with our own, companies, and everything that we are doing so far. I think is just wonderful, specifically in times when there is a lot of pressures in the market. And right now it's something that it's truly happening, but a lot of people never gave up. A lot of people were awake 24/7. A lot of people were just trying to find solutions for their customer. And I think that even if it's very hard to retain and grow and find customers nowadays, there are ways to make it happen. Of course, guys, we're happy to talk about Good to Load about that, but also the most important part that we always talk to the customer is to never miss a chance to ask feedbacks. Always try to understand what is their own expectations, trying always to find ways to be in the middle, so that even if they have some requests that are not possible from your side, maybe you can find ways to make it happen anyway, with your extended network of partners. So I think it's really important to understand the customer perspective sometimes, even if it's hard. And we know that they don't know everything that we know, guys, about logistics and everything that it's happening nowadays. It's very unpredictable and very volatile. So it's hard to explain sometimes. It's hard for us to keep us updated daily, I would say, but it's our task, it's our job, and I think it's just beautiful. And definitely, if there is resilience and consistency, the results of this relationship is success. And I'm very confident that all of the logistic companies that today are facing challenges, through consistency, will find ways to grow and scale on their own network, and eventually go on a global scale. So, Justin, I don't know if you want to add anything to our conversation, or is there anything that you'd like to highlight? All of these people came for you, so we would like just to know more from you, or anything, literally.
No, I just want to say thanks for the opportunity to share some of the, I guess, some of my story and some of NAQEL's story as well. I think you summarized it brilliantly in terms of the challenges and the like, the opportunities that are there. I think it'll be an interesting time for the foreseeable future. And we'll continue to deliver for our customers, hopefully in the best way. Yeah.
Sounds great. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to ask some questions? Can you lift your hands so we can eventually unmute you? Or Irfan, I see you talking, but I think that you are muted. You need to unmute yourself. There is like a tiny microphone. Okay. Maybe meanwhile, Irfan, you're trying to find ways to unmute yourself, I'm going to give space to Melvis, that I see that has his hand raised. Melvis, can you? Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Hi. Good evening, Jessica. Thank you for the invite.
Good evening.
Justin,
Please, your company also, Melvin. So.
Yeah, I don't want to market my company on this forum. I just have a question for Justin. Justin, welcome to the Middle East. I seen you have a great profile, 4 years, and I see that you started off your life in New Zealand Post, which obviously is a good thing where we started our career with UPS carrying cartons. So the
Yeah.
question is, supply chain is an integral part of any economy. Without supply chain, goods cannot come in or cannot go out. So for especially for Dubai, it's a re-export hub. So my question to you is, I understand logistics for 30 years in the region, but I've got 150 containers sitting in another country, which cannot damn come down to Dubai. Now, I may have a great experience with multinationals, but I can't do magic. The only thing I can be practical to tell the customers that all your European boxes are dumped in a country. I can't name it, but BLs are being terminated. The customs in those countries don't have a clarity how to reissue the transshipment because the ports in UAE are not open. So I'm in a situation where even the greatest customer service tactics will not work. You can't tell a customer a story. They want their goods. So I can't move it via Oman. I can't move this 150 containers out of Jeddah because the problem here is the shipping lines are being very conservative in giving the empties. Second is the war is surcharge is getting loaded onto the freight. So the landed cost is being crucified to the shipper or the consignee. Somebody takes a hit. The freight forwarder is just the bridge between troubled waters. So if my container of X item is stuck in a port and the shipping line is going to put $3,000 of warranty surcharge, imagine the landed cost of that product. It'll go X. So that's another problem. Goods sitting into a port also is cash flow. That means somebody's money is stuck. Either the consignee has paid it to the shipper or the shipper is waiting for his LC from the bank. So that's another chicken and egg story. So what would you do? I know it's not a easy question. What would you do if you step into my shoes and the customer is hounding you with 20 calls in 8 hours?
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, we've had situations like that as well during this conflict. We've had so when the conflict started, I can't remember the exact. We had thousands of containers on the water, right? Thousands of containers. Luckily, some of them got discharged in Haifa, some got discharged in Vietnam, Hong Kong, Singapore, like places we didn't expect as part of our planning, and I've personally been through the same. I'm laughing, but it's just because we're sharing the same pain. Personally, share that pain in terms of talking with the customer about, as a freight forwarder, we're not, I guess, defining the costs involved. You know, the shipping lines are defining those costs. They've got very strong terms and conditions in place. It's very hard for pushback or recourse, especially around the cost perspective. But one of the key things that we were working with is, if by delaying understanding the cash flow issues and the like, but if by delaying the decision on moving stuff, it actually is going to exacerbate the issue further from there. In our experience, we have been able to move things for customers, so maybe we can talk offline and see if we can actually personally help with the situation. But yeah, it's not an easy thing. I feel your pain. It's just we've been able to, I guess, collaborate with the customers in a way that they understand the complexity of it all, and that it is very unique. Yeah, and it's a tough situation. There's some customers that cash flow is a huge problem for them right now because they're paying, over double what the original freight quote was because of the extra surcharges. Yeah, it's so my answer, it's kind of case by case, and yeah, and then seeing how we can help.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jessica. I would like to ask one more question if nobody has any questions.
Actually, I wanted to give just space to Irfan just because he had the question before, but then we're going to jump back to you so you can ask again the question.
Thank you.
Irfan, whenever you want to unmute yourself and ask the questions, you're more than welcome.
Well, actually, the things the gentleman has just explained the situation of the area around us, because I am from the Gulf as well. I am based in Dubai and I'm working for almost 30 years in the trade, same
Mhm.
like him. And he explained very well. Certainly, I have been practically handled the situation myself with OOCL recently. And the main thing which we are facing is the rates. Rates are going up, keep going up, and liners are taking advantage of that rather than they just have to stand with the freight forwarders. And obviously, we talk about in front of our customers as well because customer is our key elements.
Yeah.
And if customer is not there, we are not nowhere. So this situation I address very aggressively to the port people as well, because one of the case I have handled myself, and I was personally there in the port area, and it takes a lot of time. You won't believe it. Almost 16 hours I stand in the queue for just one of the case which we handle it. The problem is that they want to find the solution, but nobody comes on the one page to find something where it is practically sound. See, the things are still moving via Corsican, via Fujairah, via Sohar. But the problem is that the rates are really drastically affecting with the customers. And that has to be addressed as a principles of us, all of us, because we are in the same trade. We have to find some solution at least that customer definitely get some benefit. Some benefits will get by the forwarders as well, and I'm really myself addressing not only for me, with related to other forwarders of my friends. They have similar situation like the gentleman explained. It's very drastic situation for everybody. So to come into the conclusion, I would say that we have to draw some principles where everybody has accepted and give a positive opinion where we can stand in one page, because
Yeah.
ultimately there are so many opinion will come definitely, but we have to draw one page where it should be acceptable for everyone, and especially the routings, because ultimately the merchandisers who just importer or exporter who basically hire a supply chain logistics company, which is a distribution for them. If their products is lying in their warehouse, it's not going anywhere, they'll be losing. Ultimately, agents is losing as well because the storage is coming. And I won't believe it, this WCL, especially the case I'm handing it, they they double the charges. I argue with the port people that what is the cost of 6,500 from Korfakan terminal moving the container to the Jebel Ali terminal? This is very much high price. In my entire life, and maybe other gentlemen will be agree with me, this is very much high price. We should not take such advantages. That's just a container moving from Korfakan. I know how much cost it will come. Maybe 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 maximum you can take. Even worst cases in this scenario, take 2,000, but not like 6,500. Before it was 3,000 and then becomes 3,500. Now from 1st April, they're saying WCL, no, DP World is charging. I argue with DP World as well. And I launch a case as well. Honestly speaking, because customer, we sometimes we stand with the customer because they are giving us the bread and butter. So we have to respect to them. And as a provider, solution provider, I have to give the guidance. I fight for the customer because they are sometimes right. And if they don't know anything, like you explained earlier, that we have the provider, solution provider. If we are not giving any solution to them, then there is no point of being a freight forwarder or being an MEOCC or being XYZ. So this is what the case is there, that we have to draw such a lines where we can explain to the customer that see, this is the routing, this is the way to move forward, and currently this is the situation, we can handle it this way, so they can get proper solution, and they will be in a comfort zone that okay, we are on the right page with the right people. At least we can handle the goods properly. So this is what my imagination for all these consequences which we are facing right now. And it's still the liners are taking advantage, not the forwarders. Forwarder is very, you can say that in a mercy situation at the moment, that they just not getting even peanuts they are earning, but suffering is who? The importer or exporter who is doing this business
True.
with the freight forwarders. Like,
Justin,
yeah, basically the liner have manipulating so many things, so many charges they implemented without anything. And if you didn't open your eyes, you don't know anything about this trade side. you will be messed totally, because they will overcharge you. And if you're not going to argue with them, they say, no, this is the charges. Like myself, because we are into the practical things, so we argue. We say that what is these charges? Okay, earn unreasonably, earn for everybody, not for yourself. So this
Yeah.
is what my aim is for my customers as well. And when I give them a solution, I give them a proper way to move forward. Even for this one of the customers, this case happened with OOCL. I'm still fighting with the DP World people. I put on all the managers on the line, and not only myself, that is my case. No, it's for everybody case. Like every forwarder's case is
Irfan,
whoever comes from.
I would say it's absolutely present in the market, like your concern and your frustrations that we can understand. It's definitely shared. And I'm sure that even Justin, in his case, then he's gonna open up a little bit about the discussions. But I would say it's very general, because us GCC, we are extremely impacted, and people like you, people like Melvis, but many other players in the market are now trying to find solutions for their customer in order to maintain their relationship with the customer, because otherwise it's misunderstood from their perspective. They think that you are actually taking the money, which is not the case. But yeah, I am confident then that the time that you spend creating your own relationship with the client, and of course exposing eventually the fees, it's gonna be a way for you to demonstrate that, hey guys, like the moment is a very bad moment. This is how we work. This is actually who is taking what. So we cannot fight something that it has this kind of size, because it's true. But it's not yourself only. I am sure it's a major group of logistics companies.
No,
And
all experienced people are here in front of me. So
yeah.
I'm sure that they will look into it and they will find some solution with positive results that we can at least explain to our customers, basically.
Yes.
That how the things will be.
Absolutely. I don't know, Justin, you want to mention anything about it, or?
Yeah, I think just continuing on from what you were saying, Jessica, that transparency is really important as well. So what's helped with us is just being super transparent on those extra costs. In some cases, shipping lines are communicating directly, and I think as freight forwarders, we all kind of share the frustration of our customers. They had price ceilings in place before the conflict, and in some cases it's doubled or tripled depending on where it's going. So it's a very hard situation to manage, especially when your budgets are tight from a customer perspective. So yeah.
And I see another question from Melvis. So if you want to mute yourself and ask Justin, please go ahead.
Yeah. So based on Irfan and based on this logistics professional group, my advice is this. I had a shipment on May 15th from your famous country, New Zealand, which is cheese, to bring it to Saudi to make cheese. And it was Fonterra. You know Fonterra better than me, the largest company. 40-foot container, -4 degrees. Auckland to Port Kalang to Jeblali to Bahrain. So you know what you do? We freight forwarders and logistics people should not be taken for granted. So I told the client, thank you very much. Call me for Christmas. Let's not do business, because I'm not a bank. I'm not opened a banking service in Dubai to pay for your freight. Second, I told the client, sorry, I can't do this. I mean, we can't move the shipment. It's not rocket science. You can go to Google and chat GPT and find out yourself what's happening. So the advice is, don't take stress, be positive, stop being crybabies, learn to say no, keep the greed for that 2%, 3% freight in your back burner, and learn to say no. Business will come. I mean, today the situation is, we call it as out of the hand. So why take stress, increase your blood pressure, get diabetes? Forget it. Say no, go on with your life.
I think Matthew is affected a lot.
And take constructive strategy of saying no. If I take that shipment and something goes wrong, I'll be spending night and day doing follow-up with my mobile phone, asking this port operator, it's a waste of time. So we logistics people should not be taken for granted.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree absolutely. And with these guys, I thank you so much for all the questions that you asked to Justin, and your thoughts that you shared, your concerns and everything. I think it's really important because in the end, as we were talking about network, we're talking about a community. So maybe finding each other in these calls can give Irfan eventually a solutions to what is the issues that he is facing, or eventually it will be not now, but maybe in the future. So it's always good to feel that we are not alone in this. And I'm very sure that if the market is now in this situation, eventually it's gonna speed up. So your business will flourish, that's for sure, and your positions will flourish as well. So guys, thank you so much again for the time. Justin, you want to leave some final remarks? Is there anything you'd like to share with your audience? Otherwise we're gonna wrap it up here, but
maybe Justin, finally have white paper for us.
Yeah, exactly. Just
No, I just want to thank everyone for their time. I know it's if you're a customer, if you're a freight forwarder, if you're anywhere in the logistics space, it's been very challenging. And I know the hard work that everyone's kind of doing at the moment. So it's good to hear shared experiences, from Irfan and Melvis and Jessica as well. I hope that everyone knows that, a shared experience is like a problem halved. I don't know the correct term for it, but it makes me feel better that, we're all kind of sharing the same experience, and hopefully we can share our experiences to make it better for our customers and for our business. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, guys. Thank you again for your time, and I wish everyone a good evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.